Prism is into robotic process automation. But I'm not here to talk about Blue Prism today, uh, neither about robotic process automation, maybe little briefly as we go on. Uh, I'm here to talk about how customer experience is changing the way IT industry is looking at marketing, and how important are consumers in the way IT companies are coming out with products themselves. So there used to be a time when, there were stores like one size that fits all. Even there today, even if you go out shopping today, you would still find this is a free size thing and they would fit you. And believe me, every time I travel outside India, I get stuff for my wife, it never fits. It never fits no matter how much they say it's a free size thing. So when we look at it from a customer's point of view, and if you're looking at saying that we've made a product which will suit to all the customers, maybe to a certain industry, but how you sell it is very important. Uh, so before I jump into the presentation, because IT industry is very vast, so I'll try and restrict the number of examples that I give you, both from IT and outside the IT. In case you have any questions, you can stop me and we can have a discussion, then we can continue. But I have to warn you in advance that there is one more presentator after me between you and the lunch. So you have to be cognizant of that. Anyway, so in the early 1900s, when Henry Ford said that I'm going to make cars in as many colors as long as they are black, right? And a lot of people, when they started learning in MBA, they thought that that guy is arrogant because he's not talking about personalization. He's not talking about customization. If you look at it from the point, the year in which he made that statement, maybe he was not that arrogant because he was not talking about customization, he was talking about the product quality. And those were the times when you only focus on the product quality and not on the aesthetics, right? If you read further in the book, he talks about that I wanted to build a car which is suited for a family who makes good living, a family, small family that can get into the car, and the car can do its job. So the color was not important then. As we move fast forward and the Microsoft, and in between while my introduction was being made, the example was given, Microsoft was there and then Google came, but in between Microsoft and Google, there was Apple. So Apple came in between. And when Apple came in, Apple changed the complete dynamics of the industry. I'm talking about hardware right now. Apple's product was so revolutionary that the sheer look of the product, the sheer look at the desktops, they were called the Macintosh, was mind-blowing. And they took over the industry in a, I would say, in a way they came and they conquered and they stayed there. Then Apple went into product innovation. They said, okay, we are going to make beautiful products, even more beautiful. So now we are going to make the MacBooks, we are going to make iPods, we are going to make iPads. So essentially they took one device, broke it into 5 different parts and started selling, and people started buying. People started buying those expensive products. When during the same time, if you look at India, in India what happened was, does anyone remember Compaq Pisario anymore? Oh, you do? Yes. So there was Compaq, there was Pisario, there became Compaq Pisario. The desktop at that point of time would cost about $1 lakh and something, yeah? And people actually had to break their PF to get their sons and daughters a desktop or take a bank loan to get it. So that was again the brand pull, right? At that point of time, one thing also, another important thing that happened was that the assembled desktops came into play. Yeah? And Nehru Place became the computer hub of the North India. So people again made money there. Again, we are looking at the product from a aesthetics point of view. So first it was the quality, then it was the look of the product. And while all this was happening, the HPs and the mergers and desktops and the laptops were coming in, another important thing happened was the internet. So suddenly everyone had their email IDs on USA.net, Hotmail, and Yahoo, right? And the search engine was Yahoo till then. and Altala Vista, and people were, would search on Yahoo, look at news on Yahoo, use Yahoo chat rooms, and a lot of guys you could see in the internet cafe trying to make an American girlfriend in those times. And then came Google, and Google changed the game again. So just like people started to say, go and get this piece of paper Xeroxed, people started Googling. So the word search became synonymous with Google. As the time passed, what Google did was, and those were the times when you had to dial up to a connection through a modem. And the strange sound would come, beep, 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 then MBs would start following up and down. 160 rupees per hour in internet cafe, which later became 10 rupees an hour. So what this particular activity or time frame, the time in the year in which all these things started happening, it empowered the customers. It empowered them to search for a product, to see all the aspects of the product, compare it, and then move on. Now again, if you look at the current time, and I work particularly into a B2B scenario nowadays. I worked in B2C at Microsoft. I worked with SAP. I have worked with a French company called Dassault. And the way I look at it, 2005 when I started working with Microsoft, and today in 2018, the dynamics of the industry has changed. It's no longer what I want to sell. It's more about what the customer wants and how much can I customize it. So earlier it used to be, I'm selling Office, people need to buy Office, that's it. Maybe someday I'll go and do a anti-piracy check in Nehru Place and stop the pirated versions of Office being sold. Today, we're talking about Office on cloud. We're talking about security solutions. Now, when I say cloud, how did cloud come up? Cloud did not come up because someone thought there needs to be a cloud solution. Cloud came up because people knew there is a market that exists. I have my benefits attached to clouds. People can't invest in infrastructure, capital infrastructure. People need upgrade. They're looking at flexibility. So I'm going to build that solution as per the need of my potential market. So in totality, what I'm doing is I'm building new market space. Now, digital, brand, everything plays a part in it. PR, they're all tactics, I would say. So when this happened, in a B2B scenario, when Microsoft says, or SAP or Dassault goes to a customer and tells them, this is what I'm here to sell, the first question that comes from the customer would be, but that product is much cheaper. You talk about on quality, you talk about on quantitative things, you talk about product features, but again the customer will say, but that product is still cheaper. So you had to change the way in which you start marketing things, you start selling things. Now, in B2B scenario, there would be a user who would use your product, a person who would raise the requisition to buy that product, and someone who is sitting at the top level will say, yes, we are ready to spend money on this product. So the way we market at least the way I market my products in the last 4 organizations, is always to first segment the customer. Once you've segmented the customer, you know which tactic to apply at what level. So my language to a C-level audience would be very different to when I talk to a mid-level manager, to when I talk to an actual user. Now, again, when I have to prepare marketing collaterals, it has to be by industry. So when we went to the energy process and utilities, for example, when I go to Reliance Infrastructure, so to speak, and they say, we are building a Shivaji's statue in Mumbai for 2,000 crore. Why would I buy your software? There are cheaper software. So I had to customize, again, speak in the language in which they would understand. So probably talk to them, give them a virtual description. Tell them that, look, at 12 o'clock, the sun's angle would be like this. the reflection of Shivaji's sword would be coming onto the oncoming traffic. And this is how you see it. So this angle needs to change. Or if I'm talking to Mahindra, for example, and they're making a new car. So the industry trend is right now connected cars, right? Cars that can connect to your phone, and probably smart cars, smarter homes. How do we integrate that technology? How do we tell that, see, your car is automatically going to be connected to your home and will tell you that, look, you need to stop on the way to get some milk because the milk that you bought 5 days back is no longer good. Maybe. This is just a hypothetical example. We talk about smart cities. So when I go and talk to the customers, which could be government in this case, smart city for some may be internet and light. For some, for me actually, it would be a real smart city that can anticipate population 50 years in advance. That can say, okay, maybe after 15 years, cars would start flying. You never know. And if they start flying, where would they be in the sky? How tall the building should be right now to accommodate? Or maybe that's too far-fetched. Let's look at right now. If you're building a smart city, are all the homes getting equal sunlight? Are you making the city, because you're modeling the city right now, and you know the directions of the wind, is the pollution going to flow out of the city without using any water sprays or any other thing? Those are smart cities, right? Because you know where to plant trees, you know how broad the road should be, you know what would be the magnitude of the earthquake if it comes in. So again, these are some of the examples that we use to give the customer an experience where they feel part of the innovation. And these examples did not come in because one of the organizations I worked with thought we need to do this. No. These examples came in from the feedback of the customers, where customers said, or the prospect said, this is what I'm looking at. And once you have that feedback from the market, you know the pulse, you know where the industry would be 10 years from now, 20 years from now. And when I talk about connected cars are going to be here in another 10 years, 15 years. Maybe not in India, but they would be here in usage. Whether it's Uber, who's going to fly a Uber cab, right? They're already into the driverless car segment also. And lastly, the last thing that I want to talk about is the digital workforce. Digital workforce today is important. It is not as prevalent as you think. Maybe some chatbots here and there. HDFC uses a chatbot on their website when you speak, when you go onto their site, and they claim it. But digital workforce is something which would be there in future. It's called robotic process automation. When I say robotic process automation, the word robots connotes a very negative term, so they've now moved it to digital workforce. Digital workforce is getting smarter. They're getting better with time. And we as people, we need to change our skill sets. We need to be more advanced. Someone said that, a robot can do a work of 50 people, but no amount of robots can do work of a smart person. So we all have to be smart. Again, while Shubho said, digital is an important part of it, and then Shubhra said the brand part of the strategy. And then Prateek talked about employee branding, internal. So I would say internal for employees, but it does come out externally. So in any IT industry segment that you work for, it is important to maintain some balance of the branding that you're trying to do, brand connotation. It may not be relevant in your industry, you may not have the money, you may want to use PR, your employees may be your brands. So it entirely depends on where you are, what segment you're playing on. But the turf is more or less the same for everyone. So that is it from my side. I hope I've not taken too much. If you have any questions, I'm here. Please feel free to ask me. Yes, ma'am.
I just want to know, like, can marketing person has a key role or can have a key role in reducing the abnormal margins that we see in the products? For example, like I was purchasing a flat somewhere, and the property dealers really suggested to the owner that you are asking for much more price than you will actually get from the customer. So I just want to know, can you people have a bigger role in reducing and advising or guiding the manufacturer that the price need to be rationalized?
Okay. So, ma'am, the way it works is that chances are most of the marketing guys are limited to their organizations that they work for, or maybe hired as consultants. Coming to your point on pricing, pricing is not decided by marketing. They can probably take a feedback and give it back to the sales guys or to the management saying maybe the prices are not working or it's too niche. But chances are the top management would be already aware of the pricing and they'd taken a call on why they want that pricing, because pricing is not always kept in mind for everyone to buy. Pricing, like I said earlier, is also, earlier to ma'am in person, is that pricing is sometimes kept to make a barrier because you don't want everyone to buy your product. So I hope I've answered that. Anyone else has any question? I think they're hungry.
Thanks for watching. Please subscribe to India's first corporate news channel. We invite interviews, articles, press releases from your organization. Visit our portal www.indianconventions.com. Thank you.